Hey, deep divers. Don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe. And today we're diving into the latest Trump tornado. This time it's all about his relationship with women, or at least how both sides of the campaign aisle are spinning it. We've got Mark Cuban throwing some shade, Trump firing back with his signature flair, and female politicians from both sides jumping into the fray. It's a political battle royale with some serious implications for the 2024 election. So let's unpack it.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is how this seemingly offhand comment from Cuban, it's become a weapon in the campaign war chests. It's not just about Trump's personal interactions with women anymore. It's about how each campaign is leveraging this to craft a narrative and appeal to voters, particularly women.
Okay, rewind for a second. Cuban goes on The View, talk about entering the lion's den, and he says Trump just doesn't surround himself with strong, intelligent women because they intimidate him. Was he just stirring the pot, or is there something deeper here?
Cuban's statement is strategically brilliant, whether intentional or not. It directly challenges a core image that Trump has cultivated, the image of a strong leader who empowers those around him. And it's not just about competence. It plays into the existing narrative that Trump is threatened by strong women.
And Trump didn't just brush it off. He goes nuclear on social media, of course, and then doubles down at a rally in Nevada, calls Cuban a really dumb guy, a major loser, and unattractive both inside and out. Subtlety is not his strong suit.
Right. But beyond the insult, his response is a calculated attempt to reclaim the narrative. He insists he's surrounded by the strongest women in the world, and his campaign immediately releases a video featuring female staffers, essentially saying, hey, we're strong women and we support Trump. What's your point, Cuban?
It's like they had that video ready to go.
Yeah.
But is it enough to convince voters, especially women, who might be skeptical of Trump's track record when it comes to respecting women?
That's the million-dollar question. And it's where the strategy gets really interesting. They're not just denying Cuban's claims, they're flipping the script, using it to rally their base and portray Trump as a champion of strong women.
So is this just a case of he said, she said, or is there more at play here? Because we're not just talking about Trump and Cuban anymore, right?
Absolutely. This has become a proxy war for a much larger battle, the fight for the female vote.
Okay.
And that's where things get really interesting because it's not just about optics. It's about policy, about values, about how each candidate's stance on issues directly impacting women resonates with this crucial voting bloc. And that's where figures like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Alina Habba, and Elise Stefanik come in. They're not just defending Trump, they're actively shaping the narrative around him and women.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely not holding back. Each one has their own style. Greene with the fiery accusations, Habba focusing on Trump's appointments, and Stefanik taking a more strategic approach.
Yeah, Stefanik's op-ed in the New York Post is a prime example of this strategy. It's titled, Strong, Intelligent Women Do Vote Red and Will Vote for Donald Trump on Election Day. She's not just defending Trump, she's directly targeting female voters who might be leaning towards the other side.
It's bold to say the least, but is it effective? Are women really buying into this idea that Trump is the champion of strong women?
It's hard to say for sure, but what's interesting is how Stefanik weaves together different threads in her argument. She highlights Trump's policies that she claims benefit women, like tax cuts and deregulation. She criticizes the left for what she calls their radical agenda on issues like abortion and gender identity. And she argues that Trump actually empowers women by giving them the freedom to make their own choices.
So it's a combination of appealing to conservative values, painting the opposition as extreme, and framing Trump as a defender of individual liberty, all wrapped up in this message of female empowerment.
Exactly. And she's not just talking the talk. Stefanik herself is a rising star in the Republican Party, a young woman who's climbed the ranks to a position of power. So she embodies the message she's trying to convey.
It's like a walking, talking example of the strong women support Trump narrative.
Precisely. And let's not forget the visual element. The Trump campaign is a master of imagery, and they've been using it to full effect in this situation. Remember that scene at the Nevada rally? Trump surrounded by a group of women, all with their fists raised in the air.
Yeah, it's like a scene out of a movie, very carefully choreographed.
Exactly. It's all about projecting an image of strength, unity, and female empowerment, all associated with Trump.
But on the other side of the spectrum, you have Kamala Harris sounding the alarm bells. She's warning voters about Trump's stance on women's rights, especially when it comes to reproductive rights.
This is a key issue for many female voters, and Harris is trying to tap into those concerns. She's highlighting Trump's role in appointing conservative justices to the Supreme Court, justices who ultimately overturned Roe v. Wade. This is a powerful reminder of how elections have real-world consequences, especially for women.
So you have these two starkly different narratives playing out. Trump and his supporters painting him as a champion of women, while his opponents argue he's actually a threat to their rights. It's no wonder voters are confused. It's like we're watching two different movies playing out on the same screen.
Yeah.
On one side, you have the Trump empowers women flick, complete with powerful female characters standing beside him. And on the other, it's a Trump threatens women's rights thriller, highlighting the potential consequences of his policies.
Yeah, and it's the female voters in the audience who hold the power to choose which ending they believe in. They're not a monolithic group, of course,
Right.
but they are a crucial demographic that can swing elections.
So how do these competing narratives actually resonate with women? Is it just about believing one side or the other, or are there deeper issues at play?
It's definitely more nuanced than just picking a side. For many women, it comes down to their personal values and priorities. Some might prioritize economic policies, while others focus on social issues like reproductive rights or equal pay. And let's not forget the impact of cultural factors, religious beliefs, and even personal experiences.
So it's not just about who shouts the loudest or creates the most compelling images?
Exactly. Women are discerning voters. They're looking beyond the surface, evaluating each candidate's record their policies and how those policies would actually impact their lives and the lives of their families.
This entire episode, from Cuban's initial jab to the campaign strategies playing out, it highlights how gender has become a weaponized issue in this election. It's not just about who respects women more. It's about how each side is using the issue to their advantage.
And that raises a crucial question for all of us to consider. How does this focus on Trump's relationship with women impact the broader conversation around gender roles and expectations in politics? Are we moving towards a more nuanced understanding of these issues? Or are we simply seeing a more sophisticated form of manipulation?
That's a question worth pondering, folks.
Yeah.
It seems like every election cycle brings new challenges and forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves and our society.
Yeah, and it reminds us that we, the voters, have a responsibility to be informed, to think critically, and to engage in these conversations with empathy and understanding.
Well said. This deep dive has been a wild ride, hasn't it? We've explored the power of narratives, the fight for the female vote, and the complex ways gender plays out in the political arena.
It's a reminder that politics is not a spectator sport. We all have a role to play in shaping the future we want to see.
Absolutely. Before we sign off, deep divers, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let us know your thoughts on this episode in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Until next time, stay curious and keep diving deep